G'day ladies and gents, and welcome to War Thunder with Mags, now live on a Rode Podcaster, and isn't this much better audio quality now? So today we're going to take a look at our first impressions of the J2M2. So the J2M2 is a Rank 2 battle rating 3.3 aircraft in the Japanese tech tree. Maximum speed 620 kilometers an hour on altitude of 18,000 feet with a maximum altitude of 37,000 feet. 19.1 second turn time, 1,811 feet a minute climb rate. Armaments include two 20mm Type 99 Mark II cannons with 200 rounds of ammunition, and two 7.7mm Type 97 machine guns with 1,100 rounds of ammunition. And this aircraft has a little bit of a reputation of being a seal clubber. And if I'm entirely honest, this reputation is not unfounded. So, diving through the clouds without a target, well, that isn't entirely true. I discovered something in this particular battle. It seems they've changed the way the dots are rendered again. This guy was, well, all the way down here scraping the treetops, and I could easily spot him from in excess of 10,000 feet despite his altitude by tracking his dot through a white cloud. The white background made him incredibly easy to spot. It's something that I've never seen before, and well, it now makes hiding at low altitude extremely difficult. If you can put yourself above some white cloud, you'll actually be able to track targets on the ground incredibly easily without having direct line of sight to them. So the target turned out to be a Fairey Firefly. Now the only reason I could potentially see for a Fairey Firefly being over this end of the map is if he was trying to sneak around, take out the AAA on the Japanese land-based runway, and then float around the area waiting for aircraft returning that are low on ammo in order to vulture them off the runway. Hit him hard, then pulled straight into the vertical, loop over, and then just drop back in on his tail. There's no way known he can outrun this aircraft. Now, I should probably say at this time that this was my third fly out in the J2M2. This aircraft is almost completely stock at this time. And there's my first kill. So second target is a Typhoon. He's on the far side of the Japanese runway. I'm just getting some altitude now, so I've got a good dive angle. Those things are fast, so I want to make sure I can hit a lot of speed to close in rapidly on him when I need to. And I was trying to work out what he was doing running towards the respawn wall, because, well, if he hits the wall, he's just going to teleport straight back into the middle of the two A6M2s. It turns out this is exactly what he was trying to do. What he was trying to do at this point of the map is actually exploit the respawn wall. By fighting almost on the point of respawn, every time the Zeros go wide to get a better angle, they're going to slam into it, be respawned into the match again. This will usually disorientate the pilots for a few seconds and buy him a window to be able to kill them. Now, I have seen people do this before. I do consider this to be an exploit, but it is a clever move. I'll give him that much, and it's something that it's very hard to actually pull off. Just short of 7,000 feet above the target, roll the plane over and put this thing back into a dive. Now I should be able to get more than enough airspeed to easily catch him at this point. He can run, but he's been spending so much time turning, exploiting the respawn wall, that he's not moving particularly quickly. And of course he's seen me coming, so he's now running directly for the wall himself, so he can get a teleport and get the hell out of my way. He does. I'm not going to try and turn back on him, that would just waste all the energy. I'm going to hit the respawn wall too, and I'm going to drop in right behind him. And here's the teleport. Pop out the other side. He's already looped around to try and get in behind me. I've loaded up with energy, take the plane straight vertical. Revert over, he tries to lift up his guns. Take a lead and miss. He pulls away from the guns, he doesn't want to go head on, loops down underneath, and starts trying to turn with me. Now I just take it back into the vertical, use altitude in order to assist my turn, get a better attack angle, bring the nose back down around, quick tap of the flaps to get my guns all lined up, couple of hits, follow through. He knows I'm right on the tail now, he's blown a huge amount of energy, and take him in the vertical, second kill. Unfortunately, the Zero that was engaging him messed up his turn and ended up putting the plane into the drink. So we lost two Zeros there engaging that Typhoon, but the Typhoon has been removed. I'm also down to 49 rounds of ammunition. I've only got 834 rounds of MG left on board. I'm sitting right next to the runway. This is the time to put the plane on the ground and grab myself a reload. So, I really haven't been talking about how to fly this plane all that much so far this video, and that's because, well, if you've seen my video on the J2M3, you already know how to fly it. This plane is a J2M3 with slightly less performance at 2 battle rating below where the J2M3 sits. And that's why this plane's status as a seal clubber is really, well, let's be honest here, it's actually valid. It is. At battle rating 3.3, this aircraft is borderline unstoppable if you know how to use it. Its battle rating is actually just as bad as the P-63 King Cobras, both the Russian premiums and the ones in the American tree, in terms of their tiering. This plane is incredibly fast. Its climb rate lists as being fairly slow, but it actually climbs quite significantly quicker than it actually lists on the stat guard. It gets to altitude very, very, very fast and retains a lot of energy the whole way through its climb. It is great in a dive. It has huge amounts of firepower. And it has amazing levels of energy retention, not to mention the fact that it's actually really easy to fly as well. The only time I managed to find a decent fight in this aircraft is when I was fighting aircraft at battle rating 4 or battle rating 4.3, which is actually kind of funny because that's exactly where I think this plane should actually be tiered. Much like I think the P-63 should be tiered much higher, this aircraft should as well. In a fight at its own battle rating, a fight at 3.3, I am yet to encounter an aircraft that can actually shoot me down unless I do something incredibly stupid like drop my speed or energy for whatever reason. And that's really a true sign for me of a plane that is tiered way too low. If I have to go out of my way to do something ridiculously pants on head levels of stupid in order to even find somebody who has a chance of killing me, something's not right. Now this was a fun little bug. When you land the J2M2 on a runway, the cockpit opens. It has the fully opening cockpit. But on this particular map, because the plane doesn't actually have to take off that runway again, it spawns in the air about a kilometre behind the runway. It doesn't have to go through the sequence where it rolls down the runway and actually recloses the canopy for takeoff. So it spawns in the air with the canopy wide open. Thankfully this doesn't seem to make a difference for performance at all at this point. It appears the drag factors for this thing's canopy being open are not modelled, but it's an interesting bug nonetheless. Now at this point things are looking rather bad for the team. It's me and a B-7A2 versus 5 enemy aircraft. But at this point, well, the looks can be deceiving, and the enemy sort of threw away the match. There are actually only 3 enemy aircraft still alive in the match. 2 of the enemy planes have actually soft landed, but not been counted as killed at this point in time. And for some reason, and I don't know exactly what happened, but the 2 of the remaining 3 enemy aircraft are about to team kill one another. Now at the moment I'm homing in on our B-7A2 because he is moving erratically and he is heading towards the carrier, so I assume there is somebody on his tail, but there doesn't appear to be. However, I keep a good look in the bottom right hand corner and I see that there is an F6F strafing the landing boats on the coast. Now there's only 2 sets of landing boats on this map that he can potentially be attacking, so he's given away his location. So I pull this thing up into the clouds and I'm beginning to scan for dots in the white again, exactly the same as I did on the first dive, to see whether or not that was just a bug or whether or not I can do it again. And the 2 aircraft that have soft landed have just been counted as dead, so we're now down to 3 targets. I'm asking the B-7A2 exactly what is going on. Has he got targets on him? What is going on at his location? I'm not getting any responses back from him. In this situation, guys, if you're in a match and somebody's asking you for help, or trying to find out if you actually need help, throw them a response back. If there's no targets in the area, let them know, no, there's nobody on me. If there is targets in your area and you're being engaged, even just target the enemy and use the quick menu to give them an indication that there is a fighter at location, so that they know whether or not there is somebody there or whether or not they need to be looking elsewhere. At this point it's become pretty clear that the F6F is still hitting the ground targets. It's swinging back and forth over the landing craft, and I have managed to spot the dot in the clouds. He's currently at the west set of landing craft. I'm tracking his dot, and I'm going to do exactly the same thing to him that I did to the Fairy Firefly. I have him locked in, I'm moving on his location, I can see exactly where he is, and he has absolutely no idea I'm coming in on him. If you ever find you're being attacked by an aircraft and it just seems to come out of nowhere and hit you and then disappear again, this is how they're tracking you guys. Now, unfortunately, I messed it up here. I was actually counting on there being about another 1,000 feet or so of cloud cover before the target. I wasn't watching my altitude gauge close enough, and ended up dropping out of the clouds too far away from where the F6F was. I was hoping to come in a little bit flatter without him seeing me coming. Not that it actually made a difference. He didn't seem to notice me until I was almost guns on. He makes a turn to dodge, I fire and miss, take it straight back into the vertical, out the other side. Loop over with combat flaps at the peak of the loop to tighten it up, repick an angle to dive. He's smart, he turns in underneath me here. It was going to be too steep a dive, I'd run the risk of hitting the ground, so just fold it back up, regain speed, go at the other end. Now I lost a little bit of energy in there, it's a side effect of not having a fully upgraded aircraft, so open up the distance a little bit more, take it back through a loop, once again, quick tap of the combat flaps to bring myself around, And you can see in the bottom right hand corner the team kill that took out the last 2 remaining players on the match. Line up the F6F, he tries to take me head on in the vertical, big mistake, I had all the advantages. Target eliminated, 3rd kill. And that's the end of this match. All enemy targets eliminated, and if this looked easy, it's because it was. And this was nice, a nice little spinny battle trophy, and for the first time ever, I've actually managed to get one that got me a module unlock on an aircraft. So that's the airframe done. It's not much, but it is something that I no longer need to research. So, results for the match. First place for the team with 3 kills, Shadow Strike Streak X2, Ground Forces Rescuer, Professional X2, Win Streak X3, Final Blow, and the Balancer Award, although that one's kind of amusing. 46,045 Silver Lions, 2,845 research points, and I also finished the offensive 7mm belts. And this was, well, it's best described as a very, very easy battle. This plane was not hard to rack up kills like that, to pull people apart. And you can see the planes that I was engaging, you know, the F6F is noted for being probably more powerful than its battle rating warrants. And he was an easy kill, the Typhoon as well, and he was an easy kill. I have had a match in this aircraft where I got a maximum down tier, and this 3.3 battle rating fighter, which performs quite competitively at 4.3, was able to face battle rating 2.3 fighters. And it was disgusting. It really was. There was nobody in that match on the enemy team that could deal with this aircraft. It was just too fast. It cloned too quickly. It had too much firepower. When it got on you, it just ripped your plane to pieces. Anytime you got close enough to potentially put this thing at risk, all I had to do was open up the throttles and fly away, and you couldn't catch it. Now, I haven't looked at the engine performance numbers exactly, but this plane flies almost identical to the way the J2M3 does. It feels like a J2M3, less 2 20mm cannons, but with 7.7s in their place, and with about maybe 300 horsepower less. Now, is less 300 horsepower approximately, in terms of performance, and less 220mm replaced with 7.7s, worth 2 battle ratings less than the J2M3? I don't think it is. I think this plane would be quite comfortable at battle rating 4 without an issue. I think it could handle most of everything at battle rating 5, and it would take it away from the battle rating 2.3 fighters that it can currently face. As it currently stands, this plane is a contender once it's fully upgraded for the Clubber's Guide. Anyways, ladies and gents, I hope you enjoyed the video. Click like if you do, subscribe if you want to see more. Fly smart, fly safe, and I'll catch you in the skies.